How to create a noise effect like this in Photoshop. Very unusual, surreal looking effect. Well, you can do it using layer masks. Layer masks are really great and it can be used with all kinds of things. So let's start right at the beginning with the image. This is an Adobe stock image. When you've got Photoshop, one of the great things about the Creative Cloud is there are lots and lots of great free images you can download and use. And this is one of them. Well, I've opened it and now I've got this, just a single layer. And you can go over here and you'll notice it's locked. Well, at this point, if I go over here, layer mask, reveal all, luckily it just does create it. But I always like to unlock it beforehand, but it does it for you. I don't know why it's always locked. Personally, I wish that was the default anyway. So now what I can do, this layer mask. Well, what's a layer mask? For a start, you might think, well, what it means is you can actually see through it. You can change parts of the image so you can actually see through to the background or the layer below. And of course, if you've got 500 layers, you can see through then all those layers. Obviously, sometimes the pixel will be full on, but you've got some that are transparent, so you can actually see through them. And noise is a real great one for creating some very subtle layer mask effects. Now you can use other things. I'm going to show you those later as well. So I've got this. Make certain you select it. Key thing is select it. No point in applying the effect to this. If you select this, then go to filter and down here to noise, add noise, it'll be applied to that. It's not the same thing. Make certain you click this, then go to filter, and now there's quite a few other noise ones. Not as many as I would like. I would love to see more noise effects in Photoshop. Sadly, there's a few. Add noise. So add noise, and you can see what happens straight away. Straight away, you can see through to that background. And you can, of course, tweak this value. You can turn around and say, I don't want very much. So if you obviously reduce it down to virtually nothing, there's no change to the image at all. But you can push it up. So if you go for fairly... Now, with the noise, if you push it up to the max, there's hardly any difference, to be honest. I don't know why, but still, 207, I'm just going to go with that. Click OK. Now I've got that, I can now duplicate this layer. To make it easy for myself, I'm just going to change this. So I'm just going to go here, normal, I'm going to go with lighten. So lighten, and I'm just going to go over here to the move tool and hold down the Alt Option key. That's on the keyboard. So as soon as you do that, you can then just drag. Now you don't want to drag too far. If you drag like that, that's fine. But I don't want that. What I want is just subtle drag. Now sometimes you might select the wrong layer. I'm just going to just slightly offset, only slightly. Hold down the Alt Option key again, and you can do this maybe multiple times. Now you don't have to, you could drag up like this in a sort of going upwards like that. Then of course you end up virtually losing the entire face, which you may or may not want. But that creates an interesting effect, I think, as well. But let's just undo, just go back. But all it does is creates another layer. But again, hold down the Alt Option key and just drag down, maybe across that way. So you still, just by subtle changes, left, a little bit right, up, down, not too far. Then you can still see this sort of shimmery face. And it does create a lovely sort of, with all those light areas, just creates nice. And also you've got the noise. You can see the noise there. Now it does create obviously a bit of jar in there. You can see that. No avoiding that, unfortunately. But you can, say, create 3 or 4 of them. Maybe 10 of them. I'm just going to go with that. Something like that. And you can see straight away you've got a lovely effect. Also go to layer and then you can just flatten the image. And it just puts it all into a single layer. But I'm not going to do that. So undo. You can select all the layers. So click on the top one, hold down Shift, and then click the bottom one, select them all. And then you just go here. Obviously I use lighten. Don't have to use lighten. You always go for normal. You see the result there. Dissolve. Dissolve obviously creates a nice noise effect anyway. You go with darken. Now I find multiply looks nicer. Again, very unusual. If you want it maybe for sort of horror film sort of things, I think that creates a sort of very chilling sort of look, especially in case that, and then colour burn even better. Definitely will be a great one, I think, on a sort of blu-ray cover, I think, especially that noise effect, the grain. Also go for linear burn. Now darker colour, don't think it's so effective. Lighten, screen just completely wipes it out. Colour, lighter colour, I think that works nicer. But obviously these things depend on the image. So you might want to try them out. You don't, of course, have to have all the same blend modes all the way through. You could choose, say, 5 of them to be lighter colour, some darker, and so on. Overlay. And as you can see, as you try them, you just quickly run through. I always love to try these. That one's quite an interesting effect. A pin light. That creates a very surreal image as well. So down there, exclusion. Now exclusion, of course, just ends up completely subtract, even worse, divide, even worse, and so on. So I think lighten is probably the best one to create a very surreal effect. Now you can manipulate this, of course. So instead of this, let's just remove all these. So select that and select all those. So hold down the shift and I can just delete them. So just delete the lot. Yes, all gone. Now, obviously I've still got this image, but you can always at any point just change this. So you might not obviously want to go with noise. Don't have to go with noise. You can go with maybe a gradient. That creates some interesting designs as well. Apply a gradient very easily. So let's just go for File and New. Click Create. Go over here to the Gradient tool. So Gradient tool, make certain you use Classic Gradient. So Classic Gradient, and you can see then you've got a whole range of gradients up here. Now the colourful ones are not really any use. What you want is just black and white, or black, white and grey. So just click here. And you can then, obviously, legacy gradients, let's just go top. And I'm just going to go with this one. Now, you might want, obviously, everyone's different. On here, oh, don't want that. Just delete that. If you had a gradient stop or anything by accident, you can always just click. And it will appear. You can always simply drag off. I always do that by accident. But click there, and you can go down here to colour. You can change it. Go for grayscale. So go for sort of lighter grey, darker grey, etc. But also you can go click here and you've got the option for foreground, background, so you can manipulate it over here, which you might find is quicker. Quite often I like to put foreground and then click here and then go for click there as background. And then you can just change it here. So with that, click OK. Now you'll notice obviously at the moment foreground and background happens to be the same colour. But simply click there and then you can manipulate it. So you can just go with, say, black. And then you've got that and now you can apply it. Now I've got blend mode of difference, so I don't want that. Normal. So normal, you can apply it. Now you'll notice I've got radial instead of linear. You can change that. You don't have to, it doesn't matter. So go for linear and just apply it and drag down. And that can be a mask as well. So let's go back to here and make certain you select this. This is the key thing, select this one. Not that one, but this one. And weirdly, I noticed, oh, got a different background, but around the edge around there. Okay, you can apply it. Now the noise is completely gone. So you can just do, obviously, any number of options. So you can just start, say up top, drag down there. So you're going to get fairly faded there. Also, you can click and just release, and you virtually get nothing of the image. So you can really chop the image up in all kinds of different ways. So just click and drag. I'm going to go with that. Exactly the same as before. What you can do, go to the Move tool, and you can hold down the Alt Option key, and simply just drag down. And you can drag down and drag down and drag down, drag down, and so on. So you can create this sort of weird sort of going downwards. And again, you've got lighten, and you can always go, yeah, let's just select them all again. And I could have gone for 12, 15, of course. But again, I can try it, lighten, colour. Now you've always got this. You can always remove it, just simply crop the document. And go with maybe overlay, and you can see you can create some, I don't know why it always does. I select overlay, jumps back to colour dodge. Very weird. Overlay, that's what I want. And then, or difference. Now difference doesn't always work so well. You just get this weird sort of negative effect. So lighten, prefer that. And you can see the sort of image you get there. And of course you can always add a noise effect to this. So again, simply go here, select all those, don't want all those, delete that, yes, and move that up a bit. This one, I can just apply a noise effect to that gradient. So filters, again, make certain you select it. If you don't select it, it's not going to work. So go down here and maybe just go for add noise. And you can see the noise effect. You've still got the gradient, but now it's been manipulated slightly with an effect, or undo. And you can manipulate this, and maybe you might decide, you know what, let's go for filters, go for distort and choose one of them. I always go for 12, but wave is pretty good. So wave, you can see, as you do that, you can get all kinds of different effects added there. Amplitude, and once you've got that, click OK. And you can see now, instead of that just very straightforward, straight down gradient, you've got this effect, this wave effect for your layer effect, your layer mask. Hold down the Alt Option key again. Now sometimes if you click this area, you might find you can't select it. Sometimes it seems to ignore you. So just drag that down. You can see you can create all kinds of weird and wonderful combinations just by dragging up and down. And if you can always undo, they're just layers, you can always delete them. Or you can, of course, just resize this, maybe make this a bit bigger. And then, again, do exactly the same. So just drag down slightly, just drag there, and you can see the effect there. So you've got that. So you don't end up with that edge effect. The edge effect is slightly annoying. Well, with that, again, it's exactly the same. Just simply select all the layers, hold Shift down, and click at the bottom. And then just go for the blend modes and just try them out. And you can see different results there, maybe darken, difference. Again, difference does not seem to work very well with that. Hue, overlay, I think overlay is a nice one, but linear burn, again, creates some really interesting effects. And of course, once you've got that, always select all of them. So select all those, all selected. You can always then maybe group them or go to layer and merge layers or flatten image, full stop. If you go flatten image, you get that. Of course, you end up losing that transparency. So you might not want to do that. What you want to do is just go for the merge. So layer and merge layers. So merge layers, you still end up with that transparency. Don't lose transparency. You might prefer. So you can do exactly the same. So again, hold down the Alt Option key and drag. And now, of course, you still get that edge effect appearing. But just move slightly and again, select them all. You can always go through the blend modes and lighten, darken, etc. to create all kinds of unique designs. And of course, you can always, you notice here, of course, I've lost the layer mask at this point. You can always go and add a layer mask at any time to that as well. Simply just go over here, select that, again go to layer and layer mask and reveal all. I've never understood why. Let's just go there. Never seems to be an option there. Click there. No, I've never understood why there's no layer mask feature in those. What you can do, layer, and go down to layer mask and reveal all, and do exactly the same as before. Just add a gradient, so simply gradient tool, and just add another gradient there to that. And you can then manipulate it, obviously further, and you can do the same with these. Now, unfortunately, maybe I'm wrong there, you can't select all of those and go to layer, and layer mask is not available. Why? Why can't it create layer masks for all of them? Makes no sense. That's a feature that's you think is a bit of an oversight. But what you can do, once you've got this, of course, you've got all these, and again, you can always select them all, and again, go to layer, and down to merge layers, if you want to keep transparency. So, merge layers, got that. And then, of course, what you can do, you can add layer effects to it as well. So just go down to effects, that's at the bottom there, and click, maybe go for bevel emboss, or something like that. And you can then create all kinds of unusual bevel effects, size, change the angle, and so on. Click OK. Hope you found this tutorial of interest. Any questions, please let me know in the comments below. Always great to hear from you. A like or dislike, also appreciated. Bye.